It's funny how much we can associate something with a certain time and place in our lives. Sights, smells, sounds can all suddenly take us back years, even decades, like we never left. But what about games? Can a game become associated with a certain time and place? I believe it can. In fact, I can almost feel it now. The year's 2015. It is December. I am 19. My grandmother helped me buy Demon Souls. I spent the last few days playing it. I step into a new level expecting nothing, only to immediately realize something is different. I'm greeted with a cold, steel cell. As I step out into this prison of Lovecraftian design, I can hear faint, sad singing. I wonder what I've gotten myself into. And as I look up to the skies, I see a dark moon staring back at me. I see no enemies, until suddenly I look across the way and see I am not alone in this prison. The fear is just beginning. I want to make an extremely biased case for why I think latria is not only the best level in Demon Souls, but the best level in Souls history, and probably one of the best levels ever made. But first, let me give you an introduction into how I got into Demon Souls. See, my father was an Xbox fanboy, and so growing up, we were an Xbox house. In 2009, when Demon Souls came out, we only had a 360. That was the next-gen system we had. We couldn't afford to get all of them. My dad would have wanted to, but he could only choose one, so he chose 360. So I actually didn't get into Demon Souls until 2015, about 6 years after it came out. Now, I had heard about Demon Souls, but, and I know this is blasphemy, I hadn't really had been interested in playing it because I don't really care for Dark Souls 1 that much. More on that later. That's a whole other video right there. So I thought Demon Souls would be a lesser Dark Souls 1. Well, in 2015, I started working at Pizza Hut. I started getting my first real job, and I decided to get a PS3. I always wanted one. It was cheap. I could get a lot of games for sale extremely cheaply. So I decided to get one. And I remember a month or two after that, because it was November, that I went to Goodwill with my grandmother. And I helped her shop for clothes, and she had some money left over, and she gave it to me. And this was... this Goodwill was right next to a GameStop, like literally like 30 or 40 feet across the way. And so I went into there, and I was looking at PS3 because I just got the system, and I wanted to see what was going on. And I saw Demon Souls, and I saw it for like 16 bucks. And I thought to myself, you know, why not? Why not try it? What do you got to lose? So I went home and I got it, and I was blown away. Our demented journey starts out in the Prison of Hope, a seemingly simple, deceptively complex maze. On the surface, it's just 4 cell blocks littered with cells across 4 floors. Only most of these cells are initially locked, requiring different keys from different places. These blocks look nearly identical. That might sound confusing. It is. The prison was deliberately designed to be labyrinthian. And even once you find the keys to open the doors, the cells themselves invite danger. Some are littered with peaceful prisoners, begging for death, wanting nothing more than to be killed and set free. Others have murderous convicts who would love nothing more than to shank you under the cover of night. You genuinely feel anxiety opening each cell as you never know what will come out. And that's without talking about the real danger. The overtakers who patrol the halls watching over these demented and tortured souls. Meet the Mind Flayers. Ripped straight out of a Lovecraftian nightmare. I affectionately refer to them as Cthulhu Steve, Cthulhu's cousin, and they're incredibly dangerous. They slowly but surely stalk the halls, looking for their prey. And if they catch you, they have an entire bag of tools made just for ruining your day. Their favorite attack, and their go-to, is to stun you with their green bolt of energy, grab you, and then shove their tendrils in you. Very creepy. They can also do a powerful AoE magic blast. And if that wasn't enough, they can also use powerful magic projectiles for ranged action. Oh, and did I forget the great heaping pile of flesh and swinging swords that wants to kill you? Yeah, there's that too. That's what I like to call the nope, not even, or the not even for short. They like to pelt you with magic from afar and then do a swirling vortex of swords when you get close. It's really annoying, as you can see. After braving all these dangers, facing all of these trials, and finally finding a way through this maze, you think you made it through the worst. Unless it gets worse. It does. As you make your way to the prison courtyard, you are confronted with spiraling architecture, an eerie green glow. You see a statue of a maiden, and then it starts firing on you. Well, at least it would if I had footage of that. Sorry, I apologize. After making it to the other side and deactivating this evil statue, you make your way to the chapel and the first boss of this zone, the Fallen Idol. Pro tip, if you don't make your way to the top right of the chapel and kill this guy, then she will revive after you beat her. Over and over again. It's a beginner's trap. Don't fall for it. Seriously. Screw this guy and his weird necromancy. Now on to the idol. The first real boss. This idol, like the rest of Latria, is cruel and dangerous. She can send her minions after you, so I'd recommend you take care of them first. She can use powerful magic. She can make duplicates of herself that can use powerful magic that you can't damage her by hitting. And she can cast seals on the ground that hold you in place and allow her to hit you with a volley of spells. After dealing with the idol once and for all, you get escorted by some gargoyles. The music swells to a sinister peak, and you truly do get the feeling that, honestly, after all this crazy stuff you've been going through, you're only just getting started. Now, at last, you have arrived in Upper Latria, a tangled weave of spiraling towers, thick chains, and unspeakable horrors below. Whereas the prison was tight, confined, suffocating even, Upper Latria has black towers as far as the eye can see. You make your way past billowing flames, watched over by weeping maiden statues, and you begin to realize maybe Cthulhu's Stave is the least of your worries. As you wander through the dark, you look up and see it. Heavy, unfurled wings, beating down relentlessly. Red eyes staring at you from the shadows, something that will haunt your nightmare. And you begin to see the enemy that you will fight the most in this area, the gargoyles. While you're fighting the gargoyles, you may wonder what the point of this region is. This is it. This giant beating heart is literally it. You have to get to the Lord and his monk, and to do that, you need to get the heart out of the way. The heart actually beats, and you can see it from anywhere in the region, and you can actually feel it in the DualSense controller. It's amazing. Unfortunately, I didn't have footage of it in place. I'm sorry. You bring the heart down by going to 2 different towers and killing the chanters that keep the heart held up. Once you kill the last chanter, the heart comes down in amazing fashion. But let me back up a little bit, because you see, this is only half the story. As you make your way to the 2nd tower, you have to descend, and it's only then that you discover the horrors that are below. You descend what seems like miles and miles into an absolute nightmare that would make H.P. Lovecraft squeal with joy. You emerge into literal pools of blood and see pulsating tentacles. And you are chased by something seemingly right out of John Carpenter's The Thing. I'm going to call this the Fug, because seriously, what the fug is this? Oh man, talk about nightmare fuel. I cannot imagine the horrors of the dev team that had to work on making this in HD. As you ride lifts up and down between upper and lower latria, it really starts to feel like 2 giant levels that overlap and intersect instead of 1. And it's amazing. Right when you think that you've seen everything this level has to offer, you literally plunge into the fucking abyss and have to reconsider everything you know. I love it. I can't get enough of it. After finally making your way to the central tower, now the heart is gone, you get to face the 2nd boss, the Man-Eater. as if the man-eater wasn't already tough enough at either half health or a certain period of time, another man-eater enters the fray. And that gets really bad. After showing these Frankensteinian bitches what's what, you're ready for the final push of the tower to face the cursed king and his monk. After overcoming this obstacle and defeating the man-eaters, you will make your way up to the King's Tower. This is the last level of Latria, and honestly the only area I have a problem with. You start out fighting two little defugs, which isn't that big of a deal, but then you have to face two incredibly powerful Black Cthulhu thieves in a narrow area, and it really is kind of cheap. After defeating the last of Cthulhu's extended family, you're finally ready for the last boss. The old monk. Now this boss is actually very unique, as it's controlled by another player and they can use whatever equipment they want to. Meaning your time with this may be easier than others, or harder depending on the player and the equipment they bring in. In this case, he was a guy wielding daggers and magic and I absolutely rocked his world. But you may have a harder time. Hopefully now you can understand why I think the Tower of Latria is so damn good and the pinnacle of the entire series. Certainly the game. I cannot stop raving enough about this level. Now you may be wondering why I brought up times and places and how games can be associated with them at the beginning of this video. And the answer is really simple. My grandmother is no longer with us. She was sadly murdered back in 2019. But when I play this game, when I play this level, it's almost like she's there again. It's almost like I can see her right there beside me sitting in her chair playing this game and telling her about it and her loving it and telling me to watch out for the skeleton, watch out for Cthulhu Steve. It's almost like she's there. So yes, this is an incredibly biased opinion. I love this level. Besides just being an amazing level filled with just atmosphere so thick you can cut it with a knife, it takes me back to a time in my life that I can never forget, but I can never go back to. But sometimes, just sometimes, when the winds of Latria are howling, and I play Demon Souls, sometimes, it's almost like I never left. But thank you for watching. If you guys like this, subscribe, like. I will try to make more videos like these if it goes over well for Demon Souls and all kinds of other games. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.